So I welcome everyone to this Capgemini session wherein I just wanted to give you an overview of how we can crack the Capgemini test. Okay, I believe most of you are aware that Capgemini is changing the test pattern this year. If you look at it, like there have been like a considerable amount of changes that Capgemini has done to the uh, recruitment process this year, and a few things are attributed to the way in which the situation is panning out now. Everyone is aware of the COVID situation that's out there, and almost all the recruitments across the globe are becoming virtual. So it's like imperative for Capgemini also to look into those kind of perspectives and see like, okay, what is it that could be done in a much better way. So since everything has to be done in a virtual environment, a lot of companies, not just Capgemini alone, but a lot of other companies are also. Is my voice okay? Is everyone able to hear it properly, or is it like echoing or anything? It's okay, right? Is my voice okay? Is everyone able to hear me properly? If you hear any echo sound or anything, just let me know, okay? It's echoing. Okay, 1 second. Now is it clear? Now is my voice clear? Are you still able to hear the echo noise, or is it clear now? Is my voice okay now? Okay, clear. Okay, fine. Yeah, okay, fine. So now, like I said, the COVID situation across the globe is now forcing all the companies, okay, to go in a virtual mode. Now, what does a virtual mode mean? Okay, in earlier times, like last year and the year previous to that and everything, what we really see is the companies visit the campus, or even companies like TCS and everything, they are like conducting a national wide drive, and through that national wide drive, what they do is like they make students to come at certain exam centers. They have like exam centers across the globe. Okay, what happens is like students have to come to that exam center and then take up the tests and everything. But now with the COVID situation around, it becomes it has now been mandatory, wherein the students can't even like travel anywhere outside, and it becomes like necessary, wherein everything has to be taken from their home, from their mobile, or from the laptop. So what Capgemini has done this year is like they have gotten an online assessment, like more to do in terms of like a virtual hiring, and whatever you see on the screen. Okay, this is how the test pattern as such like it spans out this year. Last year, if you look at it, Capgemini had a recruitment pattern wherein you would have a first round of quantitative and reasoning ability, wherein you are given like 32 questions and asked to solve them. And once you clear them, you get into a technical assessment, which is nothing but a pseudocode section. Okay, but now what's happened this year is this pseudocode section as such has been replaced. Okay, so this year, if you look at it, the quants and reasoning section has been replaced, and what we have this year is the first round would be a pseudocode section. Okay, so that is the first round of recruitment, wherein if you see this diagram, it will be very clear out here. If you look at it, the first round compared to last year, it will not be a quantitative and reasoning section, rather it will be a pseudocode section. Okay, so that's the first change that Capgemini has done towards recruitment. Then once you clear that pseudocode round, then you would be moved into a multiple choice question based English communication test, which is nothing but your verbal ability assessment. Okay, so now how is this different? This again, if you look at it, last year, if you look at the same thing, they had an essay writing section wherein a particular topic would be given, and the student would be required to write, like say, somewhere around like 200 words on that particular topic. But now the same thing has been changed, and it's now replaced with a multiple choice verbal ability test, or an English ability test, or an English communication test. However, if you look at it, this English communication test differs in a small way compared to a verbal test. Okay, how it differs in everything, I'll probably like go through once we discuss the questions. A few questions I just want to discuss with it. During that time, I'll just let you know. However, with the technical assessment, which is a pseudocode round, we are expecting it to be the same thing. And what are all the syllabus and everything, I'll just let you know about it. The third thing is the most interesting thing that has now kind of started to creep up as far as this online recruitment is concerned. And that is something to do with a game-based aptitude test, or something what you call as a game-based cognitive learning. Okay, so that is something that will be like pretty interesting. And what I would want to, and probably like the fourth one out here is a behavioral competency profiling, wherein it will be more like a psychometric test. Okay, I'll also let you know how you can address that. And the final round is going to be a technical and a HR interview. Okay, now first let me get started with the game-based aptitude test. Okay, or what you call as a cognitive learning. Okay, what is the main reason why companies go in for a cognitive learning? I've just like put in certain points why companies go in with a like a cognitive based gaming section as such. See, the first and foremost thing is like now more than like testing your ability in terms of your quants, reasoning, and everything. There is certain psychometric things which the companies want to kind of like what do you say, like kind of evaluate during your recruitment process. And this is mostly to do with the amount of attrition that is happening in the IT industry over a period over the last few years, wherein the companies have started to feel it's not just not just like in terms of like the brilliancy of the student that needs to be tested, but rather his attitude also has to be tested. Because what happens now is a company that is hiring a fresher, he hires a fresher, he puts them to a lot of recruitment things, like they are like putting through a lot of entry level recruitment training, which is like a very huge cost for a company. And once you train the student and everything, and finally just imagine the student leaves the organization working for just like 6 months or 1 year, is really not interested in the job, just to came here just for time pass and everything. They don't want that to happen. So they are like very clear in terms of like assessing the psychometric of a student. And that is one reason why this game-based cognitive assessments have been like come into picture. And whatever you see in terms of this WAIS, or Warren College, the Worthless Adult Intelligence Scale, okay, and the International Cognitive Assessment Resource ICAR, and there is something called as a predictive index, which the companies try to evolve, saying that okay, this candidate can be hired. The predictive index is nothing; it's called as a cognitive predictive index. It's called as a PI, wherein companies try to find out, like saying okay, this particular candidate is worth it, and things like that. Okay, so now if you look at it, is everyone able to hear now? I just hear something saying that audio is not coming. Can everyone hear now? Because my audio is turned on. Can you hear now? Okay, fine, great. Okay, fine. So I'll just proceed. Okay, yeah. So that is where, like I said, this kind of whatever we call in terms of a cognitive learning really comes into picture. And like I said, the predictive index, okay, that's the measure of saying that whether a student can be hired or not. Okay. The second thing is in terms of a pen and paper assessment, what is the kind of data that you collect? Okay, the kind of data that you collect is very, very important in terms like, okay, what kind of pen and paper assessment say, okay, this student is like good in quants, this student is good in reasoning, this student is good in verbal. That's a match that you can even like do it as far as a pen and paper recruitment is concerned. But in terms of a cognitive assessment, there are a lot of things that could be collected in terms of like saying like what I would say, like what we call as a data points, whatever we say in terms of like saying that okay, whether a student what is the time that he spends on a particular question, and whatever we call as data analytics, right? Okay, they capture a lot of saying that okay, whether the student has really worked out that question, whether he's just like skipping and he's just like, what do you say, like it's more of this inky pinky ponking thing, right? Whether they're doing that kind of a stuff, all those information and everything can be collected using the data analytics part of a cognitive learning, and that gives a clear picture saying that whether the student is really interested or whether the student is really making an attempt to solve the question. Okay, that is the next thing. And the third important thing, the speed and accuracy, or the speed and flexibility part, wherein like how swift are you in kind of like attending the online tests and everything. That is the most important thing. And the final thing is like this, what we call as like engagement for students. The students find this to be like a pretty, what do you say, more interactive. They find it to be like very challenging. And it's like everyone loves to play video games, right? And that could be the main reason why they want to do that. And apart from all these reasons, the main reason is they can see whether how much a student is getting involved in the process. That's the most important thing, in getting involved in a process, whether he's like full-fledged into it, like I said, whether he's just doing an inky pinky ponky, or just like praying to god and just like clicking any one of the options. That cannot be done in a gamified cognitive learning. Okay, so that's the most important thing, whether he's like really rooted into the recruitment process is something the companies try to understand. Okay, so that's the most important thing as far as the cognitive ability is concerned, and that's why if you look at it this year, Capgemini has got in that round. Okay, so first let me get into the cognitive thing, then let's get into the other topics, since this is something new, right? So I'm just like starting with this. Okay, so for the prerequisite that is required, okay, as part of whatever we train students in everything, what we tell the students is a prerequisite, a set of topics are required to crack initially, or like even to get started to learn what a gamified cognitive assessment is all about. What we need is a set of topics that needs to be like the students have to be trained on a set of topics, and whatever you're seeing on the screen is a set of topics that the students have to like kind of go through. These are more of the reasoning topics. These are the set of topics. If I think you're able to see it on the screen. Okay, these are the set of topics that you need to be like a bit thorough about to get into the cognitive based learning, or whatever you call as playing the games and everything. Okay, see, the one thing about this gamified assessment that you'll have to understand really well is gamified assessment is not just about playing a game. It is not about like playing a video game. Okay, there is a numerical, there is a reasoning, there's a lot of things in terms of aptitude that is getting tested out here. And don't just think it is just about like playing like a video game, just like we just play a game. Okay, if I'm good in playing video games, I can easily crack it. It's not like that. Okay, and this is what I was mentioning is the predictive index, or the PA cognitive assessment predictive index. And these are all the topics that are required. Okay, I'm just like walking you through the topics that are required. You'll be able to read it. Okay, so these are all the topics that are required. And this entire concept of gamified learning, there are three things that are very, very, very important. One is deductive logical thinking. The next one is inductive reasoning. And the third one is abductive reasoning. And there is something called even as a conjecture. Okay, in fact, these four things are, I would say, the most important thing is the deductive, inductive, and the abductive reasoning. Okay, if you look at it, to crack this gamified section, these three sections, like a deductive logical thinking, inductive reasoning, and abductive reasoning is required. And within that, what are all the topics that are important, like syllogism, seating arrangement, all these topics are all prerequisite for you to start even practicing those kind of games. Okay, so you'll have to be thorough on these topics. Whatever topics I'm just like going through here, these topics have to be like, you have to make yourself really thorough on these topics, and then only you will be able to get into the gamified assessment part of it. And these are all the kind of the simple gamified challenges which we will be like kind of inducting the students upon. And these challenges are required, these topics are required for you to kind of, or these are all the challenges that the gamified assessment challenges poses, and these are some things that are required. Okay, probably these are all the different types of games that are available, and we would be training you on all these such kind of games out here. Okay, and so yeah, before I get into the next part, the verbal ability, I just want to show you a few screenshots in terms of what are all the games that you can kind of expect here. Okay, so I'm just like what I'll do right away is I'll just like you should be able to see my screen here. Okay, so these are all the different kinds of games that are like kind of available. Okay, I'm just like going through the games. I'm just showing you the screenshots of everything. Okay, see, I just want to make one thing clear. The Q&A sessions, like in terms of you have any questions and everything, once I like stop the session, then probably you can ask all your doubts and everything. I don't want to break the session in between. Okay, so you can just like wait for the Q&A session, and then you can post all your doubts there. Okay, So I'm just like going through the, okay, these are all the different model games that are available. Okay. So this is more about the cognitive learning part. Okay, then getting into the verbal ability part, these are all the topics that are required. Okay, synonym, sentence correction, and all these topics, whatever the topics that are getting listed on the things, are all those things that are required for you to test on the English section as such. Just a small screenshot of how your verbal ability section would look like. Okay, this is something that we anticipate this year. Okay, a different for people, like you have some information and everything, whether you should say like it's true, false, cannot say. These are the type of questions that we are expecting this year as far as the verbal ability section is concerned. I'm just like sharing it on the screen. Okay, these are the simple topics that would be required as such. Okay, then comes the technical part, or the pseudocode part. Okay, this pseudocode part, what's more important with the pseudocode part? Pseudocode part is more like a multiple choice part, wherein like you would be asked to find out what is the output, what is the error, and in terms of like the simple MCQ questions. But in terms of topics that would be required is data structures and algorithms form the crux. Okay, data structures and algorithms would form the crux, wherein you should be really good in data structures and algorithms. And as far as programming is concerned, you would be required to kind of like be clear on at least like pointers, arrays, structures. Those are the topics from which we should start. And then the most important thing is going to be data structures and algorithms. Okay, so this is that. Sorry. These are the topics. I'm just like walking you through the topics. You can just like see the topics. I'm just going slowly. Okay, trees, graphs, stacks, queues, sorting and searching, dynamic programming, greedy algorithm, all these things. Minimum spanning tree, shortest path algorithms, string matching, divide and conquer. Okay, so computational geometry. All these things are like pretty much important as far as your the pseudocode questions are like kind of concerned. Okay, so this is more about the pattern, like how you crack it. And the most important thing, like whether it will be the same, like all the three sections you'll have to do it on the same day, whether like how many questions in each and every section. Those things we will be like able to tell you in like a few days time. Okay, Capgemini is working on that. Probably like we should expect it in a week, saying that how many questions in each section, what is the time duration. Everything will be like made available to you, probably I would say like in a week's time. Okay, by now I think you are aware of what the pattern is, and now you are aware like how to crack the pattern, what are all the topics that are required. Okay, based on whatever is being given here, let's start with your preparation. And then like probably once we get more clarity or more information in terms of what is required to crack into them and everything, we'll definitely do that. Okay, so this marks the end of the orientation session that I planned for Capgemini. And what I would do now is like I'll just leave the floor. I'll just like have you have any questions and everything which you feel like that needs to be answered. You can just like start posting your questions, and then we'll take it forward. Thank you.